Now, let's take a look at the new Speaker Nancy Pelosi recorded a robocall for embattled Henry Cuellar, which we were talking about, the anti-abortion, anti-choice, pro-gun, NRA-backed candidate, Henry Cuellar, who was advocated for by the entirety of the Democratic establishment. Okay? Let's take a look at what this robocall entailed.
Hello, it's Speaker Nancy Pelosi
Ugh.
calling on all voters in the 28th District of Texas to vote for Henry Cuellar.
Gross.
Henry is a fighter for hardworking families. In Congress,
he's not.
Henry has championed good-paying jobs
That's a lie.
and
It's just a
health care.
flat-out lie.
Literally a lie. Just straight up. He is not even a champion for his own district. This is the thing I don't understand. It's like Bob Menendez, right? Like, what do these guys have, like, blackmail on Nancy Pelosi and, like, Lolita Express or something? Like, what's happening? Why do you have to consistently defend these people? Just by the sheer virtue that they're incumbents? Is that what it is? Because that's what Nancy Pelosi says. Like, do they just have blackmail on you? Did you guys go to the Bohemian Grove together and they all have, like, compromising photos of Nancy Pelosi or something? Why? Yeah. Why are you still caping for these awful, awful vultures? I mean, well, I'll tell you why. It's because Nancy Pelosi is also an awful vulture, and that a progressive person that could potentially fill the ranks of the Progressive Caucus and make the Progressive Caucus more powerful would hurt Nancy Pelosi, because ultimately Nancy Pelosi runs on incompetence. Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic Party run on negligence as much as they can get away with it as possible, because their entire campaign strategy is about not doing anything, promising certain things, not even over-promising, really. Promising actually, like, very almost center-right ideas for the most part, like barely any, like, serious leftist progressive policies, and then not accomplishing a single one of them because, oh, man, the Republican Party is just too powerful. Ooh, look at us. We're the small bean Democratic polity. And when you slowly fill the ranks of the Democratic Party with, like, actual progressive people, they will light a fire under Nancy's ass. If they become a larger coalition, that is like one extra vote that you have to whip. That's one extra moment that you have to compromise to the left. They do not want to compromise to the left. Their entire purpose is to destroy the left, to create a bottleneck, to create a hurdle against any kind of leftist momentum that legitimately is interested in listening to voters and fulfilling their desires, doing anything to help them.
So there's two reasons why Pelosi helps corrupt people like Cuellar and Menendez. The one most obvious reason is she likes corruption. Like, I'm not being cheeky. I'm being literal. She's taken over $1 billion in corporate contributions, or campaign contributions overall. So they didn't give her $1 billion because she wasn't a good return on investment. They love that she's a good return on investment. She is the single most corrupt person in the Democratic Party. Like, the mainstream media is like, oh, that's so great. She's so great for collecting $1 billion in bribes. That's not great. That's super shitty. That means she sold us out to everyone who bribed her.
I mean, her thing is, she's a diligent fundraiser. That's the reason why she's so powerful in the party.
That's the only reason why, because she takes the most bribes. Yes, in our system there are legalized bribes, but they're still bribes, and they're money for votes. So when she sees, Cuellar, he'll even take a bribe from an Azerbaijani oligarch. That's my boy. Menendez will take a bribe on a yacht. That's my boy. And she knows she could reliably count on them to be just as corrupt as she is. Whereas progressives, is the second reason that Haas was talking about, are a pain in her ass. And not only do you have to, like, work hard to get their votes, especially on issues of corruption, like, I just want to give away pork barrel spending on the infrastructure bill. Oh, God damn it, the progressives are pointing out that it's just infrastructure pork that goes to corporations. We don't like that. Shut up already, right? And it's not that she, like, but on top of that, we embarrass her. Progressives embarrass her by saying things that are true and actually pushing for the so-called Democratic agenda. Look, guys, one last thing on this.
Yeah, that's the best example of this is literally, hold your thought, don't forget it. The best example of this is Build Back Better, right? Like, that was a signature a proposal by the Biden Brandon, okay? Let's go Brandon White House. And the people that nuked Build Back Better were the conservative Democrats, were the centrist Democrats, ones that even got actual incredible, like an incredible layup, like Kristen Sinema, a green senator who doesn't, and I don't mean green as like the political party. I mean like a new senator who was able to write a signature piece of legislation. Like they handed that off to her, and then she repaid the favor by absolutely destroying the comprehensive Brandon agenda. Okay, and they will continue to do that because the Democratic Party relies on these revolving villains. And they are going to continue their inaction, and they're going to say, oh, the Republicans just don't want us to do anything. It's like, well, yeah, clean your house. Clean your house. You have people in your ranks that don't want to do anything either. Perhaps the real reason why you're not cleaning your house, perhaps the real reason why you're not pulling a Madison Cawthorn on like, people like Kirsten Sinema and like threatening them, threatening their position, threatening their power within Congress by like pulling them from committees, threatening the businesses of their family members that are also deeply corrupt and taking advantage, like Joe Manchin's coal empire that his brother runs that gets him, that brings in $5 million of revenue for Joe Manchin every goddamn year while he sits on the Energy Committee. Kick him off the committee. Tell him you're going to, I mean, I would do way more than just kick him off the committee. I want to institute new legislation called the Gauntlet, where I think like if you dip below a certain approval rating in your state, like you pick up a champion and a champion comes into the state and beats the doors off of you on the Senate floor.
Don't do that. Okay.
I think like that would be incredible legislation. I'm actually pushing for it. You would, C-SPAN pay-per-view. I literally actually unironically think that this would be this is my legislative agenda. This is what I believe in. I think if you dip below a certain approval rating, okay, in your own state, in your state, and Congress is always at like 30 across the board, right? Someone should be allowed to go to the floor of the Senate, okay, this is totally legal, totally above board, right? And absolutely beat you mercilessly, like in hand-to-hand combat.
That is definitely not legal.
What do you mean? Why?
You were saying you would make it legal, but
yeah,
I'm very stridently anti-gauntlet.
Okay, laws are what you make it. Like morality is a different conversation, and I think it is moral that to push for a law such as that. I do think that. As long as everyone agrees to it. So
we diverged on the gauntlet, but I'm back to agreeing on ideology.
I'm just saying a little bit of proletarian violence would potentially, make sure that the Democrats and the Republicans never actually upset their base and refuse to listen to their cries for help and instead focus on their corporate benefactors.
Yeah, I'm going to vote no, but...
you're a lib.
That's where I'm a normie.
Yeah.
But back to what you were saying, it was actually melds in perfectly with what the point I was going to make, which is on $15 minimum wage. They revealed their hand, right? So they voted, and we forced them to vote. Progressives forced them to vote. Bernie didn't even want to vote, and when he did, lo and behold, it wasn't just Manchin and Sinema. That was the first vote that they took on COVID relief bill, taking the $15 minimum wage out.
Yeah.
That was even before Build Back Better. And it turned out that 8 Democrats in the Senate voted no. 8, not 2, 8, okay?
Yeah.
And if they needed it, would have been 28 that voted no.
Yeah.
And by the way, of the 8 that voted no, 2 of them were senators from Delaware, who unquestionably, if you know one thing about politics, it's that those 2 Delaware senators are not going to vote without asking the White House. Joe Biden is from Delaware. Those are his top 2 allies. If you think that they didn't ask the White House, honestly, retire. You don't know anything about politics. So that was Joe Biden saying, all right, guys, there's kids, you guys got to go. Because that's Joe Biden saying, I'm fucking with you. I never meant $15 minimum wage, okay? I never meant it. I was lying, and I'm gonna rub it. You remember that guy in New York subway who smeared his own doo-doo on the poor lady? That's what Joe Biden is doing on his own agenda, where he's like, "Oh yeah, what? Take this, Democratic voters." Well, okay, actually, I never meant it. I'm lying, and I hate progressives because every once in a while, very rarely, they out me.
No, because he's a decrepit old husk of a man who, that's just something that happens when you're that age and your brain capacity is severely diminished. You just start rubbing your fecal matter on everything.
Yeah,
so,
and he did it on 15 hours.
You're being
amazing
ableist.
That mainstream media, that one of them pointed out, hey, that's Joe Biden's top allies voting no on a thing that he said was a core part of his agenda. Hey, isn't that weird? Okay, no, they're all actors, man. They're all, I mean, you know, Alex Jones talks about crisis actors. You're looking in the wrong place, brother. Just look at Washington, D.C. reporters. They're all actors. None of them know the news,
but
none
not
of them know
hot.
politics.
Except for Don Lemon and you know, maybe Cuomo, even though he's canceled now. I'll still say it. He was hot.
There's some people. I'm partial to Cuomo.
I'm a truth teller. I'm a truth teller.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You know, some people are afraid of saying the truth. I will say my piece.
You know why I like Cuomo better than the rest, other than the fact that he was fired. So that shows, like, I don't know, he stepped outside of the mainstream for a second, like in the wrong way.
Okay,
granted.
He stepped outside of the mainstream by like
totally
helping his brother
way.
do
like, more
creepy ass stuff.
So, but the reason why I like Cuomo a tiny bit better than the rest is because he seems more like a real person, which is ironic given that he's from like royalty, right? But like he sometimes he's a bro who wants to fight and who has a temper, and he's like,
I do like that. Yeah.
Like Anderson Cooper is a robot. Like, are you positive that Anderson Cooper is an actual Homo sapien? Right? I don't think so. Like, I think likely he's a Homo sapien, but it's possible that he's just a literal AI robot. Whereas with Cuomo, you think, no.
Cooper's also very hot. So,
Yeah.
and it's Pride Month. How dare you? You're literally wearing a Pride shirt
I am.
and attacking the silver fox.
By the way, I mean, I don't know anything about his helping of the LGBTQ community. The fact that he exists on TV, I guess, helps for the older folks, okay? But other than that, has he really done anything to help? I don't remember him in any fight. He would say, oh, no, I'm not supposed to help. I'm a robotic news actor.
Anderson Cooper is proof that like lizard people have actually gotten a lot better. Like they used to look like Ted Cruz, and now they look like, you know, on some of the modifiers, like they made him look like Anderson Cooper, and then on others they just look like, you know, Ted Cruz.
Yeah, their CGI got better.
Yeah.
The original lizard person was that prosperity preacher. Who's that demon dude?
Kenneth Copeland.
Yeah.
I love
Kenneth
that.
Copeland,
I love that
yes.
guy. Okay, here, let's finish this. Let's finish Nancy Pelosi. Disgusting.
He has brought back millions of dollars to the district. Please vote for Henry Cuellar on May 24th so they continue to fight for you and to serve as your champion. Thank you.
Speaking of lizard people, Nancy fucking Pelosi. Oh my God.
She's 200 years old.